52 million Filipinos will be vaccinated for free in the next few months, care of the COVAX initiative. As for China's Sinovac, Palace spokesman Harry Roque says its vaccine will not cost more than 700 pesos. The health department says it's status quo with Pfizer for now, following the reported deaths of some nursing home residents in Norway. Investigation into the crashed Philippine Air Force chopper in Bukidnon is underway. And heads up, BTS Army, PLDT Smart Chairman Manny Pangilinan says the partnership of the year is brewing. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. It's status quo on Pfizer's EUA according to health officials after the deaths of nursing home residents in Norway. Greg Gregorio with the full story.
The Department of Health is closely monitoring Norway's investigations on the reported deaths of 29 elderly nursing home residents after receiving Pfizer and BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine shots. The DOH says they will ask the company to submit a report on the matter.
Parang sinasabi nila that this might just be coincidental because the patients are severely ill and baka kahit yung minor lang na reactions dun sa bakuna ay nakaapekto sa kanila.
In an interview with Radyo 5 Sted Failon, Dr. Edsel Salvania, member of the DOH Technical Advisory Group, noted that all side effects of COVID-19 vaccines are monitored. Recall that allergic reactions in some individuals have also been recorded in the UK and US after receiving Pfizer's vaccine.
Pero these are just a handful, isa-isa, dala-dalawa. Hindi pa po siguro aabot sa 50 or at most 100 yung mga nagkaroon ng serious infections. Pero iniimbestigahan po lahat ito para siguradong ligtas po yung bakuna.
Salvania also noted that 400 elderly persons have reportedly died in Norway at a given time, even without the vaccine. Just last week, the FDA gave the first emergency use authorization or EUA to Pfizer. Among the conditions is to only use their shots on ages 16 and above. In a statement, FDA Director General Eric Dominguez said they will revise the conditions of the EUA given to Pfizer accordingly, depending on the results of the ongoing investigations in Norway. For the meantime, the current EUA given to Pfizer remains. Pfizer BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine is part of the vaccine portfolio prepared by the government for the target mass inoculation in the Philippines. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez Jr. had earlier mentioned the said vaccine might arrive in the country next month through the WHO's COVAX initiative. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
And the Manila LGU is ramping up preparations for vaccine procurement as it inspects the first batch of refrigeration units from Germany. Marian Enriquez is on the ground to tell us more. Hi, Maan. How low do these freezers go?
Sean, 9 of the refrigeration system units acquired by the Manila LGU have already arrived at the Santa Ana Hospital this morning. Manila Mayor Isko Moreno personally inspected the freezers that were ordered from Germany and will be used to store COVID-19 vaccines. According to local officials, these refrigeration units will be able to store all types of vaccines. Of the 9 pharmaceutical refrigerators today inspected at the Santa Ana Hospital, 5 can be set to 2 to 8 degrees Celsius and can store around 58,500 vials of AstraZeneca and Sinovac vaccines. 4 deep freezers, meanwhile, are capable of -30 to -10 degrees Celsius, which can store 64,800 vials of vaccines from Janssen and Moderna. 3 more deep freezers are expected to arrive by the end of the month. These have a capacity for shots that require -80 degrees Celsius. These can store more than 200,000 vials of Pfizer vaccines. 50 transport coolers were also ordered by the LGU to protect the efficacy of the vaccines during transit. The Manila LGU allotted almost 9 million pesos for these freezers. Meanwhile, local officials say since the launch of the Manila COVID-19vaccine.com website in December 31, at least 72,000 residents have already registered for inoculation. Mayor Isko Moreno stressed that residents will be allowed to choose their preferred vaccine brand. Here's what he has to say.
Walang batas na nagre-require sa iyo na magbakuna ka. So, ibig sabihin, may karapatan kang magpabakuna at hindi magpabakuna. Pero, kung tatanungin mo kami pamahalaan, ang suggestion namin, preferred namin, magpabakuna ka.
Sean, Mayor Isko Moreno also warned Manileños against receiving unauthorized COVID-19 vaccines that are reportedly being smuggled into the city. Sean?
Thanks for that update, Marian Enriquez, reporting live from Manila. Here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. The Health Department recorded more than 2,000 new COVID-19 cases today, and this brings the total caseload to more than 502,000, 27,000 of which are still active. 14 more people died of COVID-19 overnight, pushing the death toll to almost 10,000, while only 2 people recovered from the disease in the last 24 hours. The DOH clarifies that the vaccine prices released by the Senate are not the negotiated amounts between the government and vaccine manufacturers. The agency says prices of different vaccines that circulated earlier were based on rates published by drug makers to help governments estimate budgets for their respective vaccination programs. It is also urging the public to trust the vaccine procurement process of the government. The Ombudsman has cleared Public Authorities Office Chief Persida Acosta and her forensics head of graft and other charges. In a resolution, Ombudsman Samuel Martirez says there was no probable cause to indict Acosta and Erwin Urfe. In 2018, complaints were filed against the 2 officials for supposedly creating the PAO Forensics Lab without a mandate. Acosta and Urfe were also accused of manufacturing evidence and spreading hysteria during the Dengvaxia controversy. We'll have more stories after this quick break. Stay with us. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Shawn Yao. Around 22 million Filipinos will be among the first ones to be inoculated against COVID-19. These vaccines will be from the COVAX facility and will be given to the country for free. Ria Fernandez with the report.
An expert from the UP National Institutes of Health dissected the efficacies of various COVID-19 vaccines in a House briefing. According to Dr. Edsel Salvana, shots developed by Moderna and AstraZeneca are effective in preventing severe infection. The same type of efficacy was found on Sinovac's vaccine after clinical trials were conducted in Brazil. Recall that the Chinese shot has drawn doubts among Filipinos after it was reported to have only 50% efficacy rate. But Salvana clarified that such figure only refers to Sinovac's ability to control symptoms from developing. Under this criterion, the vaccine of Pfizer turned out to be the most effective with 95% efficacy rate. That's why for Salvana, the government needs to consider not just 1 or 2 vaccines for deployment.
Pinaka-importante po talaga na ma-deploy natin yung mga vaccines that can prevent severe disease. At ang bakuna na nakaka-prevent ng severe disease ay makakapababa sa panganib ng pagkamatay sa ating vulnerable population.
Once the inoculation happens, the physician urged people to still observe minimum health standards. Salvana explained that the efficacy of the vaccines in preventing virus transmission is yet to be proven. Meanwhile, Health Secretary Francisco Duque III said a house-to-house vaccination is being planned. According to Duque, this could be done among members of the vulnerable population such as senior citizens.
Pero hindi, this is more exception rather than the rule. Kasi po, kinakailangan din natin talaga na bantayan yung post-immunization surveillance, monitoring, and recording of adverse events.
As for the timeline, vaccine czar Carlito Galvez Jr. reiterated that inoculations may begin first quarter of the year. One of the shots expected to arrive first are the free COVAX vaccines for 22 million Filipinos. The government also targets to purchase 148 million doses to immunize up to 70 million people this year. Galvez added that talks with various manufacturers, including Moderna, are ongoing. To speed up the process, the vaccine czar said a centralized procurement will be the best approach. But Marinduque Governor Presbitero Velasco, president of the League of Provinces, has an appeal to the national government.
Only concern is the authority of the local governments from the national government to procure directly vaccines from the suppliers.
Malacanang earlier said LGUs cannot procure their own vaccines unless they enter into a tripartite agreement. For News 5, Ria Fernandez, We Are One News.
In other news, an investigation is underway into the cause of the crash of an Army helicopter in Bukidnon over the weekend. Major General Rodolfo Cordero, spokesman of the Army's 4th Infantry Division, suggests that it was possibly due to engine trouble. Cordero cited initial reports from the probe, which states that the pilot tried to execute emergency landing before the crash. The helicopter was on a resupply mission to a remote Army base when the incident happened, killing all 7 on board. The remains of the fallen military personnel have been brought home to their families. And international pop sensation BTS is the latest group to collaborate with Smart Communications. The company says the Grammy-nominated group will headline its Live Smarter, Live with Purpose 2021 campaign. Earlier today, PLDT Smart Chairman Manny V. Pangilinan teased the BTS Army with what he called the Event Partnership of the Year. In a tweet, he told fans that you asked for it and we're giving it to you. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.